With the Trey Smith news, are the Bears even going to be able to build a good offensive line?
Are the Bears seriously considering Ashton Jeanty with their first-round pick?
That and more on this episode of the Hallis Huddle podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Hallis Huddle podcast. Here are your hosts.
The middle of the 15 to the 20, breaks free of the 25 to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5, touchdown Bears!
What's up, Hallis Huddlers? Huddle up!
Okay.
How's it going, Bob?
It's going great, you know.
Yeah, we're 2 days into the NFL Combine. It's been a little bit interesting. There's been some news that has broke that really has nothing to do with the Combine. There's been some news that's broke that's because of the Combine, or at least draft related. So we're going to get into that. This is going to be a news or noise episode, something that you and I have not done in a little while.
Yeah, it was kind of a regular season thing. It's nice to bring into the postseason.
Yeah, it is. But before we get into it, I do want to put this out there and remind everyone, we have a NFL jersey giveaway going on right now that is literally on the last day. Like, this is being recorded late Friday. It's going to go out very late Friday night. Saturday, March 1st is the last day to get in on the NFL jersey giveaway drawing, right? So you need to go to our mock offseason episodes. It's really easy. Go to our page, hit the subscribe button first because you got to be subscribed, and then find the mock offseason episodes. It's literally listed Bears mock offseason, and in parentheses it says part 1, part 2, part 3. Go to those episodes. Please listen to them. I would like you to listen to them. If you decide not to,
we promise there's good stuff in there.
There is good stuff in there. We have off-season content when it comes to free agency, what we decided to do, mocked some signings, right? Maybe some extensions that we talked about, a 7-round full mock draft that we did. Some things have changed along the way, and we will have a recap episode coming out that will embrace those changes. But again, go to those episodes. Again, if you listen, that's great. Even if you don't, go to the comment section, type in huddle up on each one. You'll get an entry for part 1, an entry for part 2, an entry for part 3. That gives you 3 chances to get your name into the drawing for this jersey that we're going to do. The drawing is going to be held on Sunday. And, you might not get the episode until very late Sunday or very early Monday morning. But we will be doing the drawing in the background on Sunday. So get out there, find that video, those 3 videos. Again, hit subscribe, hit those comments. We really appreciate the support. We are up to 920 subscribers as of the start of the show.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
It's been a fun ride. And you know what? It's been pushing me and you and Justin to even put more and more content out, right?
Yeah, we got some stuff planned next few weeks, ready to go. So it's been exciting times.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, let's get into our news or noise section. I guess we should probably reintroduce it a little bit.
Yeah, for any new subscribers, new watchers who are checking it out, we just say some slightly provocative statement to decide whether it's news or noise. News, is it actually something that rings true that we should really be taking to heart, or is it just noise and it's just nonsense? It's just people in the media just talking just to talk.
Yeah, most of these come either directly from the media or things that we might see, hitting social media that, fans are talking about. But it's all predicated on, either rumors or factual information that's out there. It's not just us pulling shit out of our ass.
Probably a little bit of that, but not a lot.
Maybe. I mean, the wording might be that way, but we have reasons for it.
Right. All right, so let's get into it then.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'll go with that first one. The Combine is supposed to be all about the prospects. It's supposed to be all about their testing and the underwear Olympics and all this stuff. But I think one of the most fascinating parts is the coaches and GMs talking for the first couple days. And, Ben Johnson kind of star of the show, at least in Chicago, and he was pretty impressive. So, news or noise, Rob? Ben Johnson is already exceeding expectations.
So interestingly, I'm actually going to go noise.
Okay.
I'm going to go noise just because my expectations were exactly this. This is what I thought. I am extremely excited about the Ben Johnson hire. It is for the first time ever that the Chicago Bears have hired the head coach that I wanted going into the coaching cycle. Usually they take someone who's like 6th or 7th on my list. Again, finally, someone who was first. If this goes down in flames, I don't even care because it was my choice and I'm going to stand by it, just as I would hope Ryan Poles and the Bears stand by it. But the one thing I will say is I did see someone, and I think it was an ESPN article that I didn't read. I just read the headline comparing him to Sean McVay. And Sean McVay is one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. So if he is being compared to him, that is absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. I'm excited. Let's get this going.
Yeah, I love that answer. I love, saying it's noise because this is expected. It's what a head coach should look like. It's just something we haven't seen here before. But I actually am going to go with some news just because, throughout this whole process, I guess I was a little skeptical of Ben Johnson being this stud head coaching candidate. He was just kind of the hot offensive coordinator and, being skeptical of that just because, I don't believe that you have to just find an offensive coordinator for the sake of offensive coordinator for your quarterback. And yeah, he was super impressive. We talked all year about, we shouldn't be discounting how coaches flub press conferences because that's how they communicate. And if you're communicating like that in front of the podium, you're communicating like that in the locker room. And to see Ben Johnson just come in and clearly communicate, have an answer for everything, a smart answer for everything, it just gives you confidence that that's what's going to be happening behind the scenes in the locker room. So I was, I kind of already knew even before the combine that I was being a little bit too, I don't know, I say just afraid to buy into the hype, I guess. But seeing him, what he was doing, some of the Barstool content that he did, It was really impressive to not just as a head coach, but personality plus type stuff. It was really impressive.
He already knew to throw Big Cat under the bus about being from New England, right? From Boston. Made a joke
back and forth with PFT about the Washington job and everything.
Yeah, it is really great to see. What I'm most interested to see is what the NFL PA issues report cards for each team, and one of them is coaching. And the Chicago Bears, if I recall, it was either a C- or a C+ this year. Maybe it was just a C. I can't remember. But it was definitely a C grade, whether it was plus, minus, or flat. And obviously that was involving Matt Eberflus and that coaching staff. I want to see, does that change? It's anonymous type things. I want to see, does that change come next year? We won't know, obviously, for a year.
No, we won't know until next year, but it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. This was one that we teased in the teaser before the intro video, but news or noise, Trey Smith now being franchise tagged officially today. It was official tonight, by the way. It's not just rumored. Officially, without Trey Smith, the Chicago Bears will be unable to build a good enough offensive line for the 2025 season. Bob, is that news or noise?
I'm going to say noise just because I don't want this to set panic among Bears fans. I know our podcast has grown the last couple of weeks, so we definitely have this sway to decide what does and doesn't induce panic amongst us all. But obviously it's not going to be as good. He was the top choice in all of free agency. It's not like there's just another Pro Bowler out there that, we can just pivot to. It's now you're not talking about signing Pro Bowlers. You're talking about signing just solid starters. But the good news is that there are other solid starters to sign. There's tons of offensive linemen in the draft. So I do think that at the end of the day, the Bears will have a significantly improved offensive line from last year. And it will definitely be solid enough to, further along Caleb Williams, let Ben Johnson do what he wants to do. Some of these other names that are still going to be solid guards are, Aaron Banks from the 49ers, Mekhi Becton from the Eagles, Will Hernandez from the Cardinals. There's Kevin Zeitler, of course. You know, and Robbie talked a lot about him in the last episode last night. So there are options to get solid starters and improve this line. It wasn't always Trey Smith or bust. It would have been best for Trey Smith, but Bears will be just fine.
Yeah, I'm going to go noise with you on this. I agree. You can get more in-depth analysis on how I think the Chicago Bears can attack this on my episode that I did solo last night, so you can find that on our channel. But yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. There's guys out there, they are not on the Trey Smith level. That said, I do like the idea of the stopgap, the bridge signing of Zeitler if he's going to become available. So yeah, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be improved upon what they were this last year. And I think the draft has a lot of upside. And I will say, we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but it was interesting to see that they have only met with one offensive lineman at this point at the combine, at least from an official standpoint. And it's a guy that I have not even looked at or graded out of Boston College. So do with that what you will. I know Ryan Pohl's a little bit of a, gambler, a card player where he doesn't show all of his cards and tries to make you think he's going to go one way and kind of go another. So maybe that just means they're going all offensive linemen in this draft.
Yeah, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. All right, Rob. Maybe the juiciest bit of news when it comes to prospects in the combine was with who I believe is the top player on your board.
Yep.
Abdul Carter out of Penn State. He already was not going to participate due to a shoulder injury he sustained in the college football playoff, but it also turned out that he has a stress fracture in his foot, and there's some debate about whether he's going to have surgery on it or not. So, news or noise, Abdul Carter's foot injury will end up impacting the Bears' first pick.
I'm going to go noise, but I'm going to tease it a little bit that it could be news. And the only reason I'm going to say that is, look, I don't think it's going to impact the fact that it's going to make a difference for the Chicago Bears. I think he might drop a little. I think the quarterbacks are rising right now too, so that's kind of going to play a part in this. And I think he might go maybe as low as 4. But what could be interesting is if the Cleveland Browns trade Myles Garrett. Right now, he's saying he does not want an extension. If he is traded, they sit there at the number 2 pick. If they take Abdul Carter after trading Myles Garrett, could that impact the Chicago Bears draft pick? Yes, only if the Chicago Bears are trading for Myles Garrett. I don't think it's going to happen, so I'm going to stick with noise, but there's some potential news
there. But it's fun to imagine what that might look like if that happened,
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm also going to say noise because I just don't think it will trickle down all the way to 10. And I'm going to tackle it a different way in that it could possibly impact if he falls to 7 or 8. And now it's, a trade up possibility to go get the best player in this draft, or the best defensive player for sure. I know some people still like Hunter, although it sounds like Hunter's going to be a cornerback anyway. So I'm going to say noise. It probably isn't, but it was just something that when you hear the number 1 player in the draft, the position of need for the Bears might fall. It's like, okay, is it going to make a difference? But I don't necessarily think it will.
All right, let's go to the next one. News or noise, DeAndre Swift is safe as Ben Johnson gives him high praise in recent interview.
This is kind of a slam dunk for any of you guys who watched our first episode of the mock off season. Kind of know where my thoughts are on this anyway. Our thoughts as a podcast. That's news. DeAndre Swift is safe. DeAndre Swift isn't going anywhere. It already was going to be that case because just contractually he wasn't going anywhere. It was just didn't make any sense to move him with the dead cap that would be coming in, whether trade or cut. He already was going nowhere. And then now to hear, Ben Johnson, he praised. Of course, he's not going to say anything negative. Like, yeah, I don't think he's that good, but we have to pay him, so we'll have to deal with him. But, like DeAndre Swift can excel, he not excel, but he can make plays at the NFL level, and he's established that he can make plays at the NFL level. Can he be a workhorse back? Do I want him getting first and second down carries? No, I do not. Do I want him making plays on my team? Yes, I do. And it seems like Ben Johnson does too.
Yeah, so obviously the whole reason that people think thought he was going to go is because he was drafted by Detroit when Ben Johnson was there. He was traded by Detroit when Ben Johnson was there. And even Bleacher Report recently came out with a trade scenario that traded him to the oh my gosh, I almost called them Oakland, to the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think it was only for a 5th round pick. I'm sorry, I'm not really interested in that. I know he only averaged 3.8 yards per carry this past year, but this is really quick what Ben Johnson had to say about DeAndre Swift. He said, look, he's an explosive athlete. I was there with Swifty when we drafted him. There's a number of things he can do in both the running and passing game. He can help ignite an offense because of his playmaking ability. It'll be fun to work together again this springtime. Whether he said those things or not, like you said, we thought he was going to be safe anyway, so this is definitely news. Let's just move on to the next one.
That's right. So with the next one is interesting, though. There was one of the names confirmed that the Bears interviewed is Ashton Jeanty. So, Rob, the Bears are seriously considering Ashton Jeanty with their first pick.
100% yes. Do I think they will? No. Do I think it's the right move to take him? No. I mean, obviously, it's going to depend on what's going to happen in free agency, but not being able to get Trey Smith might impact that too, because I know he was officially on their radar. So this is definitely news. The reason is, obviously, you said he's the only one that they met with so far at the combine. I know we still get the top 30 visits.
The only running back they met with.
I'm sorry. Did I say quarterback?
No, you didn't say any position.
Okay, yes, he's the only running back that they met with.
Met with other first-round potential prospects.
Correct.
He's the only running back.
And one of the only ones that I would have considered in the top 10. So as far as players go. So, yeah, I mean, this guy is by far my top running back candidate or prospect coming out of the draft class. The things that he can do, the contact balance by far is elite. And to me, that's the number one thing you have to have as a running back. His speed, his vision, his patience. I know he's not playing in, the SEC or the Big Ten or anything like that. It's one of the smaller conferences, but he did enough for me on film to definitely be that guy. And I am definitely happy to see that they're at least considering it.
Yeah, and I'm going news on this one as well. Bears fans, based on some of the comments on our last mock draft, nobody seems to want the Bears to draft Ashton Jeanty, but this kid is a legitimate prospect, a legitimate elite prospect. And you don't get chances to just draft elite talent all the time. And especially with where we think this Bears team is headed, this might be their last chance in a long time to get an elite talent. Now, just because it's at running back position that's been devalued doesn't really matter. It's an elite talent. And if you pass up on Jeanty, he turns into LaDainian Tomlinson because you had to take a guard who ends up just being some solid starter in the league. Are you still happy with that? Or are you like, no, I should have took the elite prospect when I had him valued as an elite prospect, but I passed on him due to position of value? It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I'm not necessarily saying that's what definitely should happen. If you have a guard who is an elite prospect and Jeanty is an elite prospect, great, take the elite guard. But if Jeanty is clearly the top elite prospect at 10 when you're drafted, you got to take the best player available. So I think the Bears are looking at it that way.
Yeah, and I also think this draft, I've said it many times, it just doesn't have a lot of those elite type players. So if for some reason Jeanty is available at 10, look, it might not work out in 2025 based off of the needs that they have on the offensive line. But if you can get that type of player, that electrifying type of player, look, you have him for 4 or 5 years, right? Yeah. So you can build that line back up over the next 2-3 years. It's not like a 1-year thing.
It's not just a 2025. And that we got a lot of stuff with passing on a defensive tackle in our last mock to go for Sawyer. It's a 4 or 5 year contract, guys. It's not just about your depth in 2025. So get the elite players, get your top player on your board.
Yeah. So. All right. So we ran a little bit long already. Let's just really quickly squeeze this one in. Fans should expect the Bears to draft a safety. News or noise?
I think that's news. I mean, we already talked about safety being a need. What we did in the mock off season, I'm not sure the Bears are actually going to do or pull. And it seems like they've already interviewed 3 safeties. And so I think it clearly at least indicates that that's something that they're going to seriously consider. And it makes a lot of sense. So whether how high or not they're going to end up going, I'm not sure. I believe some of those safeties they interviewed do have third round grades or better. So it is possible one of these top 4 picks is going to be a safety. So, yeah, Bears fans, just be ready for that if it happens.
Yeah, I was the one that had safety in my top 5 needs, so I definitely scream news. I will say I'm not high on a lot of these guys, but, third round, that's fine. I think that's probably right around where they should be looking anyway, unless it's Xavier Watts. I'm in love with Xavier Watts. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so he just constantly pops into my mind when I see him on the draft board. But yeah, it's definitely news for me. Whether it happens early, whether it happens late, doesn't really matter. It's going to happen at some point.
100%.
All right, that's all we got.
Yeah.
So again, please hit the subscribe button. Go check out our other videos. Hit that huddle up in the comments section. If you are a betting person, please check out our sign up page at signupexpert.com/huddle. That is brought to you by BetStamp. You will find sign up offers for all the best sports books in your region. And by being able to find all of these different sports books, you also be guaranteed to find the best odds. So check that out. Baseball season's right around the corner, and you can start betting some baseball.
Yep, and be on the lookout for that video Sunday night or Monday. A wrap up to the mock off season, results of the jersey drawing.
Yeah, I'm excited. Until then, bear down, claws up.